Happy International Women's Day. I love generosity and I've been blessed to have been on the receiving end of many people's generosity as I've lived life, and this has encouraged me to be generous. The International Women's Day theme this year, 2026, is Give to Gain. I give to bless others, but it is absolutely true that when we give, we often gain more than we give. In 2024, I was blessed to be invited on a Tear Fund church leaders trip to Uganda, and we went to the north region of Karamoja, which is one of the poorest communities in the world. Tear Fund are an amazing charity that work with local churches and organisations in more than 50 countries across the world. It was on this trip that I met 8 women who really inspired me by their giving. Their church community had only just begun to use Tear Fund's Bible studies, maybe for the last 5 to 8 months, and already their community had seen much transformation. As they began to recognise the resources that God had given them, they'd begun to grow crops, but water, or the lack of it, was a big issue. Most of the time they experienced drought, but when the rains came, they came, and this caused flooding, and then they couldn't really use or access the water either. Getting water for this community usually involved long walks of around 3 kilometres. These 8 women knew that the rains would come eventually, and so they decided to dig a large pond. But in order to dig, they had to eat. They weren't allowed to dig without having breakfast. So out of their limited resources, these women committed to paying for breakfast every day that they would dig. They gave of their little for the community's gain, and they dug and they dug. When we were there, the pond had been completed and they were waiting for rain. When the rains came, they would of course also benefit themselves. But what a gift. Give to eat breakfast in order to dig and gain a pond to catch the hoped and prayed for rain. These women demonstrated active participation in solving their community's problems. When they gave, they raised up more than themselves. In many of these church communities we visited, women were at the fore of leading their communities in faith and hope to become all that God had called them to be. This was a beautiful work of multiplication. They inspired their community, they inspired the local Tear Fund leaders, and they inspired me. So I wonder, what can you give to gain?